Alright, hello once again. This is Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College. And as part of the Rankin Technical College AWD Application and Website Development 1000 Web Development Technologies class, I have vowed to start building a website that will incorporate a lot of the material that is in the books that we are using for the class. And those books, as shown here, first is Murox HTML5 and CSS3 4th edition. And if I come down here, I can go to the table of contents. And, we get essential concepts and skills. You can look at those. Page layout and responsive design. More HTML and CSS skills. Web design and deployment, and other skills for web developers. The other book that's used for the class is Murox JavaScript and jQuery 3rd edition. And if we look quickly at the table of contents for that book, we get 7 chapters of JavaScript Essentials, followed by 5 chapters of jQuery Essentials, followed by 6 chapters of Advanced JavaScript Skills. Now, there is no way in heck that I could build a website that would go through everything in every chapter, but I'm going to do my best to hit a lot of the high points. For right now, we're going to start by trying to take this right here, which of course, as you can see, doesn't look like much, and we are going to add excuse me, we are going to add our own CSS file, and after we do, the plan is to convert this into this. Now, is it beautiful? No. It's functional. All right. And we'll talk about everything that's happening with this along the way. All right. So I'm going to get started right now by creating a brand new project. I'm going to keep my other one here in case I do need it. So I'm going to create a new folder. And the name of our gym, and I found out there actually is one named this, is going to be called Jacked, J-A-C-K-E-D, and Jilled, J-I-L-L-E-D. So here's our Jacked and Jilled folder. Inside of there, I'm going to create 3 other folders. A JS folder to hold any JavaScript we might want to put in there. A CSS folder for any CSS or Cascade style sheets we want to put in there. And finally, an images folder. All right, so that's what we're going to have. In addition, I'm going to start to create just one file for right now. So I'm going to put in a new text document. I'm going to immediately change the name, get rid of the extension, the TXT, and I'm just going to call it index.html. Now, when I hit enter, the system is going to beep at me and say I'm about to change the extension. Do I really want to do that? Yes, I do. So there's that. Now, as promised too, I'm going to be using in here, and I don't know what happened to my icon, but I'm going to try my best to use Visual Studio Code. So let me right mouse click, pin this to the taskbar, there it is, and bring it up. All right, now I should be able to come in here and do a file, open folder, and go back to the desktop and find Jacked and Jilled. There it is. All right, so that's the folder. And as you can see, there's my CSS, my images, my JS, and my index. So I'm going to start with my index, which, as you can see right now, is totally empty. Now, there's a lot of stuff I could write to get started, but rather than doing that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use or take advantage of a Visual Studio shortcut, which says I can put in an exclamation point and hit enter. And you can see what it put in there for me. It started to create my document for me. Now, is this that big a thing? The answer is no, of course not. But I want to explain what's in here. And as you'd guess, it's a little faster than me typing it in myself. So the first line is the Doctype. It's the type of document we are creating. And this has changed over the years. It used to be for versions of HTML, the hypertext markup language. Before HTML5, we had very long doctypes. But with the advent, however many years ago it was, 10, 15 or so years ago, of HTML5, they decided to make the doctype statement for HTML5 very small. So it's just Doctype HTML. This word Doctype you'll sometimes see with a capital D and lowercase everything else, sometimes with lowercase, sometimes with uppercase. All right. HTML, remember, is a tag-based language. So here's the beginning tag. Here's the ending tag. The next thing it says here is lang equals en. Lang is what's called an attribute. En means that we're using English. So I'm going to put that in here. Whoops. I'm going to put in an HTML comment that says we are using English as our language. Now, you'll read a lot of books that will say to you, you don't have to put that in. And you know what? They're correct. However, when you turn around and you want to validate your HTML document, if you don't have the lang equals en, you'll get a warning message telling you that you haven't specified a language. The other thing, and again, this, what I'm about to show you right now, this is totally unnecessary. In other words, if you leave off what I'm about to show you, you won't get any error warning. But sometimes you'll see dir equals LTR. What does that mean? That means the direction in which we're reading is left to right, as opposed to some other languages that are right to left. All right. So we put in our doctype tag. We put in our beginning HTML tag, and we explained two different attributes and their values that you can use with this. All right, that brings us up to the head tag. Now, with the head tag, it's important to realize that nothing that's in here is actually shown on the web page itself. All right, so the first thing we have in here are three meta tags. All right, and I'm going to quickly explain what each meta tag is. The first meta tag, basically, for lack of better words, says we are using the Unicode Character Set. And again, is this that important to you becoming a website developer? I don't know, but I just figured you'd like to at least hear what this is about. Back in the days when I was a young person, the character set that was used was called ASCII, A-S-C-I-I, which was the American Standard of Code for Information Interchange, I believe. And it held 255 characters, which were basically just about everything you could see on a keyboard. Uppercase, lowercase, numbers, special characters, etc. And some stuff that, wasn't seen on a keyboard. That worked fine when we were basically a national society and not an international society as we are today. But as time went on, and you had people who were dealing with companies in Japan and China and Mexico, etc., the ASCII character code didn't cut it. So what happened was, over time, there was a transition made to the Unicode character set. What the character set basically is going to do is help to convert the characters that you type in into the zeros and ones that the computer can understand. All right? The Unicode character set, I believe, has space for not 255 characters like ASCII, but over 100,000. So it's got every character for every language, and there's still room to grow. All right, so that's the first thing. Next, you can see, you can see that we have got a meta tag here, and we're going to explain what all this means in just a second. But we are setting this page up to be responsive. And again, I'm being a little bit liberal with my comments here. This says meta name equal viewport. This says whatever medium we're using as we are creating, whatever medium we're using as we're creating our website. All right. What we want to do is we want to be able to use the entire width of that, okay? And we want it initially to be scaled to be 100%. So in other words, we're building this site in what's typically referred to as responsive. We want it to be able to adjust so that as we grow or shrink the size of our screen, also known as our viewport, it still looks nice on the page. All right? Okay. The next thing that's in here, this meta thing, content equal edge. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to come in here and I'm going to rather go back over to here, and I'm going to say, what does this do? It says it allows web authors to choose what version of Internet Explorer the page should be rendered as. I'm going to grab their comment. A little longer than I'd like, but it's fine. So it allows web authors to choose what version of Internet Explorer the page should be rendered as. And what you're saying is try to render it as Edge, which is the newest browser for Internet Explorer. All right, that's related to IE. Finally, you get our title. This title is used for three things. Used for three purposes. First, it's the tab at the top of the screen. You'll see that in just a minute. Second, used for bookmarking the website. And third, it can help in search engine optimization, SEO. All right. Now, if you go back and you look at what I have up here already, here's the tab. Notice it says Jacked and Jilled pipe sign home. Why do I get that? It's because that's what I put in for my title. All right, this page is literally going to be called Jacked and Jilled Home. All right, so that's the first thing. Second, if I bookmark it, so if I create this website, save this website, and somebody goes to the website and wants to book it, that's what they should get in their tab, Jacked and Jilled Home. Finally, the system is going to look, because what I didn't put out here is, whoops, that's not what I want. More meta tags will be added later. And again, you'll see what these are, how they're used, etc. as we go on. Now, I've already gone here almost 15 minutes. I'm going to stop because I don't want these lectures to get too long. Right now, the only thing that's going to happen, I'm going to do a file save. File. I don't know what happened there, but file, save. And I want to run this on the built-in server, which is called Live Server. And it's going to be empty. Except Notice I've got Jack and Jill home. All right, so I'm going to stop with this. I have finished the discussion, all that I'm going to do for now, of my Doctype and my head section. All right, so when I come back, I'm going to start seeing if I can fill in a few more things that are in here that I did not yet add, and then go right into the body section. So I'll be back with that shortly.